Hey everyone, Michael Petrovich Team Home Loan. Today I'm going to go through getting a VA loan in Papillion, Nebraska. Papillion's a great town for the VA loan because it's near Offutt Air Force Base. A lot of veterans in the area, a lot of active duty military live in Papillion. So it's a program that a lot of the agents, a lot of lenders in that area are familiar with. So the VA loan, and for those who qualify for VA loan, they usually know a bit about it, but the VA loan is a benefit for veterans that meet certain criteria. They qualify for a VA loan, which is a no down payment loan, usually has great rates, is really um, forgiving on credit and debt ratios, assets, things like that. So really great program for people that qualify to get into a house with no down payment, no monthly mortgage insurance, a great rate, and a lot of easy terms as far as restrictions, very little restrictions on the VA loan as far as qualifying. So the VA loan, you have to check your sort of eligibility. So you get your DD 214, or you just contact a lender. Like me, we can look up your eligibility online to see if you qualify, what you qualify for, and what the terms are of your eligibility. So if you don't know if you qualify, reach out to us, reach out to a lender, and they can look up that eligibility to see what you qualify for. So the VA loan is for primary residences. So you cannot use the VA loan to buy an investment property, a second home, things like that. However, you can buy a house with a VA loan as your primary residence and move out, keep that VA loan on that house, convert it to a rental, and buy another house with VA. Now, this depends on your eligibility. So every time you use the VA loan, you're going to use up some of your eligibility. Once you close that loan out, once you sell the house, refinance it, that frees up that eligibility. But if you have enough eligibility that you can squeeze in 2 or 3 loans, you can take out as many loans as you want as long as that eligibility is still there. So it's a primary. You have to buy it as a primary, but you can buy it as a primary later on, move out, convert that to a rental, and buy another VA house if you have the eligibility available. So that is one thing to consider with VA is that you have to buy it as a primary, but you can convert those into rentals if needed, possibly if you have the eligibility left over. So a few advantages of the VA besides what ones we just talked about: no down payment, no monthly mortgage insurance, which is big. Every other loan program, conventional, FHA, have monthly mortgage insurance, which is not a benefit for you. It's just coverage for the lender in case of default. So mortgage insurance is something you want to avoid if you can. And VA does not have any monthly mortgage insurance, even with a no down payment option. VA also allows the seller to give up to 4% of the purchase price in credit. So if you're buying a $200,000 house, the seller can give you up to $8,000 in credits to cover closing cost and escrow. So it's possible with no down payment, with a seller credit, you could get in the house with no money out of pocket. And I've seen this happen. People go to closing and their cash to close is nothing. So with the VA loan, the seller's covered everything. So that's something you can negotiate with your realtor, with the seller to get that covered. But it's possible with the VA eligibility to get into a house with no money out of pocket. So that 4% should, in most cases, cover most, if not all, of the closing cost and escrow on any loan in Nebraska and Papillion. So really great way to get into the house without any money out of your pocket potentially. Now, a VA, one disadvantage of the VA is it does have a funding fee. So even though there's no monthly mortgage insurance, there is a fee. It's tacked onto the loan, and it's based on what type of service you had, how many times you've used the VA loan, how much that fee is. But it can be as high as, and this is for second use, as high as 3.3%. So let's say you buy a house for $100,000, you put nothing down, your actual loan amount is going to be $303,300 because they're going to tack onto that loan that funding fee. So your loan amount is going to be actually higher than the purchase price. Now, there are ways to lower that by putting some down on the house that will lower that funding fee, but there's always going to be a funding fee unless you are exempt from the funding fee. So the exemption is almost always for disability. So if you're receiving disability income, it's possible you also have the benefit of getting that funding fee waived. And that's something that'll show up on your cert of eligibility. It'll show whether or not you have to pay that funding fee or not. So if you don't, you can get 100% financing, no monthly mortgage insurance, and no fee. So pretty much a no-brainer to use the program if you don't pay that funding fee. Now, if you have a down payment and you're going to be eligible, you're going to get hit with that funding fee possibly on a VA. We can also look at options just going standard conventional and see if that maybe is a better option, even though you have that VA eligibility. So that's something we can discuss once you sit down with us. Now, down below, I've put in the blog poster, I put some links to get your own sort of eligibility, some ways to order it yourself. Like I said, you can always reach out to us and we can get it for you. That's free. but you can also order it yourself if you want to get all the information together before you start looking for houses or talking to a lender. I just want to go back to Papillion again. Again, Papillion is a great place for the VA loan because for whatever reason, and this is I think this is inaccurate. A lot of people, sellers, and even some agents think the VA loan is a more difficult loan to qualify for. So if you come in to buy a house as the buyer and give the seller your approval letter and it says a VA loan, and they have another one that says conventional, even though maybe your offer is better, they might say, well, we're going to go with the conventional because we've heard the VA loan is a difficult loan. Not the case. I think it used to be the case a long time ago, and that still kind of lingers that the VA loan is a difficult loan to get qualified for, but not the case. Good thing about Papillion is because it's used so much in the area, agents, lenders are all familiar with it. So if you get that letter to a listing agent, they're going to know, hey, they've done plenty of VAs typically, and they know it's not a difficult program to get through. So all those misconceptions about VA are not as prevalent in Papillion as they would be in an area that didn't have as many veterans. So if you do qualify for the VA loan, almost always it is the better option. So there's a few cases where it's not, but almost always, if you qualify for the VA loan, it is a benefit to you for your service, and it is a great program to use if you can have access to it. So reach out to us. We'll have to go through it with you, pull that sort of eligibility, see exactly what you qualify for, and then get you some numbers based on current market rates and that VA funding fee, figure all that stuff out for you. So yeah, just reach out to us. All right. Thanks a lot.